Hey, what up, world? I know this topic right here got everyone in social media and the news going crazy all over Collin Cowherd, which he's on the herd, and we're going to go over the clip today. Pretty much stated if Kawhi wins a championship with the Clippers this season, he'll be top five all time. So pretty much he's saying he's going to pass over like Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Tim Duncan, etc., etc. That's a huge stretch. I don't agree with that. Kawhi Leonard all time right now for me. I've already listed my top 10 lists to you guys. I'm probably going to have to make another video to break it down, maybe go a little further to top 15, top 20. But for sure, Kawhi Leonard's top 25 all time. I haven't really thought too much into it, but if you put him top 20 all time or top 20 all time, he could probably be in that mix. But if Kawhi were to win his third NBA championship, and this would actually be the second championship he would have actually led his team at this franchise, because the first championship in 2014 was San Antonio with the Spurs. He was a young piece. He wasn't even an all-star during that time period. He was, a young comer. We saw within him with the 2013 finals and in the 2014 season in the finals that, he'd be a future all-star in the game, and he had a lot of potential. But that team in 2014 was just, there wasn't a main player on the team. You did have the foundations of Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, the big three. But again, they're around 35 to 37 years of age. They were older, and you had a great foundation with Danny Green on the team, Boris Diaw, Patty Mills, et cetera, with Popovich. But Kawhi Leonard, he was a young gun. He had the defensive presence on LeBron James, and let alone, he had a couple games where he had over 20 points. Nothing too crazy, but he deserved that Finals MVP. I look at Kawhi Leonard with around a championship and a half if you were talking about leading a team. So if he were to win this championship, the Clippers pretty much put him around 2.5 championships, kind of in that mix. And he would definitely be top 15 all time if he were to win this championship. If you were talking about top 10, that's a good conversation because you can really put him over Hakeem Olajuwon. You can state him over Wilt Chamberlain. Some cats are going to get mad about this. Maybe even Kobe Bryant. I still would probably have Kobe over him, but for sure top 15. I think you can put him, top 12 as well. But let him talk about it. Let me hear his case, and we can
a documentary on Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain's the greatest physical specimen in the history of the NBA. It's not even close. I'll give you a stat. Wilt's the only guy in the same season to lead the NBA in points and rebounds, and he did it 6 times. Wilt Chamberlain one year decided in the 60s as a center. He was leading the NBA in everything. He's like, I'm going to lead the league in assists. This is the 60s. He's a center. He had 702 assists. He led the NBA.
You still got to remember back in the 60s, the type of players that were playing, of course. You saw Bill Russell was dominating. You had Jerry West, Elgin Baylor. But then again, some people throw out plumbers. That's still a case when it comes to it. But Wilt Chamberlain, most athletic player when it comes to the NBA of all time. Michael Jordan's a close second for me. But Wilt Chamberlain, man, he's 50 years old and he's still dunking like it's nothing. He had an over 50-inch vertical. He was a star track athlete. This
he
cat
led
did
the
it
NBA
all.
9 times as a physical specimen in minutes played. One year, he actually led the NBA in minutes played, and he averaged more minutes than games are long. I'm not making that up. He played every minute of every game and then played overtime. His minute average was more than actual game time. There has never been anything like Wilt Chamberlain. Ever. There's nothing like him. Not Michael, not Russell, not Bird, not Matt. Nobody's close.
And I'm going to transition into this top conversation. If Kawhi were to win that championship, his third one, I would put him over Wilt Chamberlain due to the fact that I put it in fact, if you're going to be top 10 all-time or in the all-time rankings, you got to lead your team to multiple championships when it comes down to it. Wilt Chamberlain was getting waxed by Bill Russell year after year. Whenever it comes to Kawhi Leonard, he's going to be shown that if he wins his championship right here, his finals record is going to be 3-1. And his first championship loss was a Game 7 when he was a young pup. So you have to take that into account when it comes down to it. But Wilt Chamberlain, he's 2-4 in the finals. We expected him to win more. He really underperformed when it comes to winning. Same kind of thing with Shaq. But Shaq was more dominant in winning, but Shaq later on in his career, he didn't take care of his body. But Wilt Chamberlain, he couldn't beat the Celtics. He could not do it. But yeah, I have to keep that into account.
Nothing close to it. There's never been a 30 for 30 on him. And he was glamorous. And he was weird. And he was flaky. And he was amazing. No 30 for 30. What's going on? I don't understand it. Is that we always compare LeBron to Michael Jordan because they're the two best players ever, the GOAT. And I've said there is a magic.
No, sir. LeBron is not the second greatest player of all time. He's top 5 for me. He has to win a championship with the Lakers. He needs to. If he doesn't, I may have to put. I have LeBron 5, Larry Bird at 6. If LeBron does not win a championship in the next 2 to 3 seasons with the Lakers and retires, I'm probably going to have to put LeBron down to number 6 or number 7 all time. And then, of course, move Larry Bird back to that number 5 spot. But I expect the Lakers
Johnson
to win in
to
2020.
LeBron, where he makes everybody better. Like Michael didn't make everybody better. Magic and LeBron make everybody better.
No, sir. I'd rather have Michael Jordan on my team than LeBron James. LeBron James, quote unquote, makes you better if you're a 3-and-D player, like a Danny Green, a Kyle Korver. Pretty much if you're just standing in the perimeter while LeBron dances with the ball, does what he does with his LeBron James system. LeBron will go and kick it out to you. And if he kicks it out to you, even if it's not the best shot, you better shoot it. Because if you don't get the shot up, then you got to pass it back to LeBron. LeBron doesn't like to play the hockey ball assist. LeBron likes to play to where if he has the ball and he kicks it to you, you better score it at will. You either better drive in real quickly, go for a layup, or shoot it for a 3. And that's the thing. But with Michael Jordan, he knew how to play in a system. He trusted his coach. LeBron does not do that. That's why LeBron is 3-6 in the finals and should have won more. That's a detriment to LeBron. I know people say he has a high IQ. He does, but he really doesn't when you think about it because he never likes to play off the ball. He's not the best strategist. He likes to play his own way. It's his way or the highway. He doesn't like to let the coaches do their thing. That's why he fires around 2 coaches every 3 seasons. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not here to hate on LeBron. I mean, I'm a fan of LeBron James and his game. But, you know, there is a lot of baggage and bad side. People don't like to mention with LeBron in his game. He should have around 4 to 5 championships right now. It's crazy he only has 3. You know, if you would have told someone in 2011 or 2010, whenever he joined the Heat, that 9 years from now he would only have 3 championships, and he went to 3 franchises, you would have said I'm crazy.
The assistant coach, the guy off the bench, everybody with Magic was better. You played with Magic, it was your best part of your career. But LeBron really is Wilt. LeBron is Wilt. He's the second greatest.
Thank you. Well, I've said this in the past. LeBron James is like Wilt Chamberlain in this generation. Wilt Chamberlain's 2-4 in the finals. LeBron's 3-6. Both were dominant, athletic. But whenever it comes to IQ, let alone winning, it wasn't always there. They would get dominated by a team with a higher IQ or maybe even a better player. Sometimes when it comes down to it, that can be debated. But LeBron's 3-6 in the finals right now. He's like Wilt Chamberlain, just more longevity when it comes to being in the finals and
Physical specimen ever.
What it is.
LeBron did not have a single injury of note for 16 years and was leading the NBA in minutes. That's unheard of. It's just at this level of competition with the athletes today to not have injuries for 16 years makes no sense. And now in LeBron, in his 17th year with a new roster and a coach, says, I'm going to change positions and be the best in the world at the thing we want our point guards to do. Ask yourself today, you're a general manager of an NBA team. Russell Westbrook's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. If I said LeBron or Westbrook's your point guard next 2 years, you'd take LeBron. And Westbrook's a first ballot.
Well, yeah, because bonehead Russell Westbrook has a terrible IQ.
Ballot Hall of Fame.
Ball.
First ballot Hall of Fame point guard. I mean, I may have my issues with him, but I'd vote him into the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't even, it's over. I'd vote him now, today. If he quit today, I'd vote him in. This is amazing. LeBron has, what you're looking at here is, you know, there's going to be several chapters of the LeBron book.
All right, I want to jump into the Kawhi Leonard discussion. Here we go.
Style. He's great. He's got no shoe deal. I mean, he literally chose the Clippers over the Lakers. He didn't get along with Popovich. They sent him to Canada. His laugh is weird. He's different. He's not like glamorous Michael Jordan or talkative verbal LeBron James or smile every time you saw him Magic Johnson. He's not like our stars. He's much closer to John Stockton, who hated the media. But as of this morning, so I am really in on this thing. So as of this morning, there are he's starting to get into clubs that nobody else in the league is in. Now the NBA's got 13 guys a team, 30 teams, thousands of players in its history. And I have said, if Kawhi Leonard in 2.5, 3 months is holding up a trophy, is holding up the championship trophy, he's a top 10 player in the league all time.
Listen, realistically, if you're looking at the game, you should have the Clippers and the Bucks in the finals and the Clippers to win it. I'm not going to say anything in the background. I don't think it's the NBA's best interest. I think this year's lined up for LeBron James and the Lakers to win it. Everything's just perfectly lined up. You have the Warriors and the Nets that are injured, and they won't have to face them at all. You have Kobe Bryant's death. You can throw in, they need one more championship to tie the Celtics. LeBron hasn't won a championship in 4 seasons, or 3 to 4 seasons since 2016. And Anthony Davis's last contract year, I just think, and you guys can say what it is. There's like any gematria nonsense or anything with like the Masonic Jews or cults, whatever. There's other YouTube videos. You guys can search for other times to look more deeper into that. I just see how it is. I can't see the Lakers not winning. I don't know how they're going to win. I think they're going to squeak it out somehow, or maybe there's some injuries or something with Corona. I don't know. I just have the Lakers winning the championship. I would be shocked if the NBA let another Los Angeles team like the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard, because they're still trying to make LeBron James the GOAT. Now, this is his last opportunity when it comes to it. If he doesn't win this year, then it's just, I don't know what to say. I don't know. But back to the point, if Kawhi Leonard wins his championship, I'm going to put him. He's definitely, right now I have him top 20 all time, top 25. He were to win this championship, he's definitely top 15, let alone top 10. That's very close, because from 9 to 11, like I was saying before, I have Kobe, Wilt Chamberlain, and Hakeem in no order as of right here. But Kawhi Leonard, he would be knocking on Hakeem, let alone Wilt's position. So maybe you can put Kawhi Leonard top 10. Who knows? I got to see how it plays out. If that's
I'm going
to
say it today. He's a top 5 player.
I'm going to say it today. He's a top 5 player.
No, he's not top 5 all time. If he were to win this, no, he wouldn't. Listen, number 1, you got Michael Jordan. Number 2, I have Bill Russell. Number 3, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 4, I have Magic Johnson. Number 5, LeBron James. Kawhi Leonard would not pass any of them, let alone he would not pass Larry Bird. He would not pass Shaquille O'Neal. He would not pass Tim Duncan. Was that number 8, number 9? And then at number 9, I have Kobe, Wilt Chamberlain, and Hakeem in no order. He would be knocking on those doors. Probably not Kobe, but with Hakeem and Wilt Chamberlain, yes. So I would say top 11 all time for sure.
Here's why.
Top 5 player of all time.
You tell me it's championships. You tell me this is winning matters.
Championships.
Okay, winning matters.
Winning matters.
As of this morning, he's in this club. This is a very elite club.
This morning, he's in this club.
In the history of the NBA, you've been a finals winner and MVP with 2 different teams. Kareem, LeBron, and Kawhi. Now let's just talk about that for a second.
LeBron and Kawhi. Now let's just talk about that for a second.
Yeah, but Kareem was the main guy when it came to Milwaukee. He was winning MVPs. He's playing with Oscar Robertson. LeBron James, he did it with the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers. He led those teams and those franchises. And then when it comes to Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi with San Antonio wasn't the main guy. So I can't really, when you put the elite club with this, yeah, 2-dimensionally, if you think about it, you're like, yeah, but no, because he wasn't the main guy when it came to the Spurs. He wasn't an all-star. He only averaged, I think, like 18 to 20 points at finals. But with the Raptors, that's a huge credit, man. He did his thing. He was on his Michael Jordan flow when it came down to it. So Kareem, on that list, he has 6 championships. LeBron has 3. Kawhi only has 2. And 1 finals MVP that was really, he wasn't the main guy when it comes to it. But if he wins with the Clippers,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the greatest big man in the history of the league. He's the leading scorer in the history of the league. He created the shot that is, without question, the most unstoppable shot, the skyhook, in the history of the league. You couldn't block it. The second guy is LeBron James. First or second best player ever. The third is Kawhi Leonard. So I would say this is a fairly elite club. Think about how many great players there are. Michael Jordan's not in that list. Magic Johnson's not in that list. Larry Bird, Jerry West, Tim Dunn, all the great players. He wins this year, he's in that club. Okay. So here's another club, the super elite club, where you've been a finals MVP and a defensive player of the year. Not a lot of guys in the NBA are great defenders. There's about 5, 6.
Yeah, but Michael Jordan did that in the same year. He won the championship and won Defensive Player of the Year. Kawhi Leonard didn't do that.
7 guys every year in the league that are really good defenders. Michael, Akeem, and Kawhi Leonard. So that's that club. So you dominate the finals. You're the best player in the biggest games. You're also the best defensive player in the year. That, by the way, wasn't that always the thing with Jordan? You needed a stop, you needed a shot. That was Michael. But we're not done. Now we're going to go to the VIP Elite GOAT Club, where you've been the best player in the finals, MVP, a defensive player of the year, and you've been an MVP in the All-Star game, which is the world's best basketball players, and you're the best one there.
I mean, come on, All-Star game MVP. I mean, come on, man. That's whatever. Listen, I'm not. In 2013, LeBron should have won Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know how they gave it to Marcus Gasol. He wasn't even first-team All-Defense, which is asinine. It makes no sense. But I get where Collin Cowherd's coming from. These are impressive clubs that Kawhi Leonard is in, and he doesn't even have one regular season MVP, which is crazy about it. You know, he focuses more on the playoffs and in the future into the finals. Kind of load manages, does his thing in the regular season, but Kawhi Leonard's a very smart man.
Bruh, how many more clubs you want? How many more clubs you got to be in? You notice who's in these clubs? The 10, 12 best, all the guys he's in the clubs with. Michael, Kareem, LeBron, Akeem. Those are all top 10, top 12 players. How many more clubs you want? Now people get into this. Well, Nick Wright yesterday, it was very sad, yelled at me. He doesn't score enough points. Calling the scoring daisies. Nick Wright.
Listen, it should not matter about how many points and all that you scored. On my criteria, all-time rankings, it's how many championships did you lead your team as the number one guy. Then, of course, follows with, like, finals MVPs. How many times you lead your team, in your prime pretty much into the playoffs, deep in their finals. Then you can kind of go down to regular season MVPs, other awards, and then statistics. I can care less if Kawhi Leonard averages around 20 points per game the rest of his career. If he's winning 2 or 3 more championships, I'm going to put him over in that list. That's why we don't have Tracy McGrady and, Allen Iverson. Not really. Actually, let me throw him off there. Like Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, some of these other cats as high in the all-time rankings because they haven't led their team deep in the playoffs, let alone to championships. It's not all about stats when it comes to points scored and all that. So I don't like when people use that argument against Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is an impact player. He's a franchise player. He can lead you into a championship. He knows how to play in a system. And a lot of cats, a lot of players of this day and age in the NBA, they don't really care about playing in a team system. They just want to be ball dominant, have the ball in their hands, and so they can be able to rack up and inflate a bunch of their stats, points, assists, and all that. And, I mean, that's why they're getting bounced in the playoffs. But Kawhi Leonard is a smart man. He knows what he's doing. And that's what happens. You got to sacrifice your points and your ball usage if you want to go, win some games. That's how it is. You can't be a one player trying to do your own thing like LeBron, and then you're kind of complaining why you're 3-6 in the finals. It's like you got to use your team too and your coaching staff for a reason. But a lot of players don't do that. That's why you have the Warriors and the Steph Curry. That's why they were dominant, winning championships, a dynasty. They know how to play off the ball. They know how to sacrifice. They know how to defer to different teammates. They know their identity and their role. But if you have someone like LeBron James, he doesn't play like that. He's always been a star in high school. He didn't go to college, so he never learned the team offensive game, how to defer to coaching, and let alone, working an offensive system. He kind of got that when he went to Miami. He was still 2-2 in those finals, 1-2, lost 2. But then whenever he went back to Cleveland, back to his old habits, old roots, he was 1-3 in those finals. I mean, it was embarrassing. He barely squeaked out that championship in 2016. But it is what it is. Listen, I'm not here to talk on LeBron and stuff, but Kawhi Leonard has a winning brand of basketball. He's the only player right now that I trust that I would pick up number one to lead my team to a championship. Giannis is still young. He's not there as of yet. He's learning, and he will get there. LeBron, I still have LeBron winning the championship this season due to background stuff. I think this will be the last one they'll squeak out for him. But Kawhi Leonard, I trust as most. Kevin Durant's still learning. He won 2 chips with Golden State, but he wasn't the number one guy. He wasn't the foundation. That was Steph Curry's kingdom, and we saw how that played out. But with Kevin Durant, he's going to learn as well. He's got a lot to prove with Brooklyn in the next season or two to win a championship. But Kawhi Leonard right now, he's on top of his game, and I mean, huge trust if you're a Clippers fan and anyone else on his team.
Do you know where Kawhi Leonard ranks in NBA history in points? I'll answer it for you. You don't, because no one does, because the rankings only go through 250, and he ain't in the top 250, Colin. I got 3 names for you. Wesley Matthews, Marvin Williams, and Jeff Teague. Those 3 all-time greats have all scored more points in their career than Kawhi.
Well, so scoring now is the barometer.
Yeah, I know, that's ridiculous. Like, I'd rather take Kawhi Leonard than Monte Ellis all time. It's like, I mean, that's an asinine statement. Listen, Nick Wright's a fanboy for LeBron James. You know what he's going to pull out of his sleeve or his cards to defend LeBron. If Kawhi were to win this championship, that's huge to where if you're LeBron, that's a detriment because Kawhi has the same amount of championships, even though 2014 is kind of here or there. But he did beat LeBron in 2014. He was a huge part of that reason, so he can stack that up against him. And Kawhi Leonard would be the best player in the world unanimously. This would be his era, and he would be kind of like the modern day
Do you know the
Jordan.
top 15 all-time scoring list in the NBA includes Elvin Hayes, Moses Malone, Dominique Wilkins, and Paul Pierce? So it's scoring now that matters. By the way, Melo is 17th. And nobody likes Melo. He's 17th. Think about that. There's about 15 guys a roster. Melo's 17th all time. So scoring is it? Elvin Hayes. I apologize to the Elvin Hayes fan club, but I don't think scoring's that big of a deal. I mean, you got to be able to score. So what I'm saying is, and he's 29 years old, meaning he's on a path to surpass Michael and LeBron.
No, sir. No. Listen, he can pass LeBron. He's not going to pass Michael Jordan. There's no way. He's 29 years of age. I have around 4 to 5 seasons to where Kawhi's going to be as dominant as the number one guy to lead you to championships. I think Kawhi Leonard will get at least 2 more finals appearances, maybe 2 more championships. Who knows what plays out? You do have a bunch of young cats that are rising. And we have to see what happens. But Kawhi has a great brand of basketball. We saw with him, he low manages, let alone Michael Jordan was dominant as he was at 35 years of age. I expect the same game plan for Kawhi Leonard when it comes down to it. But if Kawhi were to win this championship and then let alone win another one and three-peat, so 1 with the Raptors, 2 with the Clippers, you would have to put him over LeBron James all time. I would. He would be top 5 easily if he were to.
If he wins this year, he's going to have a 3rd title, 3rd team, 3rd Finals MVP, All-Star MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. There's only 1 player in the history of the league that has more than 3 Finals MVPs. There's only 1. That's MJ. So he's going to have 3 of those. If he wins this year, he's one of the 5 best players in league history. MJ, LeBron, Magic, Kareem, Kawhi. Those are the 5.
People are so disrespectful to Bill Russell. It's amazing, man. He won 11 championships. Even if you want to put it in this modern day and age, if you cut it in half, that's around 5.5 championships. I mean, it's crazy. Listen, Bill Russell, he was going against the Lakers year after year in the finals, being Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain and Elgin Baylor. I mean, he was defeating those cats year after year. And Bill Russell will give you 18 a game. He was debatably the greatest defensive player of all time. I mean, people look at Bill Russell because he doesn't score a lot of points. He was kind of like the Kawhi Leonard type, but for a big. You know, give you 18 points, a few blocks a game. His defensive presence was crazy. And whenever he left the Celtics, we saw the detriment to that franchise go down into, I forgot what year in the 70s. I think it was like 72. But, yeah. So disrespectful. Bill Russell, he's my 2nd greatest player of all time. I don't care what you say about the era. He went against great players. He beat them year after year. His impact was there. And he needs to be on the Mount Rushmore of the NBA. Again, I got Michael Jordan. I got Bill Russell. I got Kareem, Magic Johnson, and LeBron James. Kawhi Leonard, if he were to win the championship, he's not top 5 all time. No.
The best players ever.
That's an emotional take in the moment.
If he wins the title and is MVP, look at the clubs he's in. He's in clubs with all these guys and Akeem Olajuwon. Well, he's scoring. It's never been. We don't get a stop and get a bucket guy in the league right now is Kawhi Leonard. That was MJ. That's what you tell me matters. Get a bucket, get a stop. MJ. Folks, we're 3 months away. Top 5. What about Kobe? Kobe was never the get a stop guy in the NBA. Kobe didn't have all those clubs. Kobe's not in those clubs. And Kobe had the best coach. Think about this. If this cat wins with the Clippers, he'll have won Finals MVP, youngest ever with Popovich and his rigid system. Then he goes to Canada. Hell, Canada can't even win in hockey anymore. They haven't won a Stanley Cup since the early 90s. That's their sport. They can't even win in hockey.
Yeah, I'll stop there, but huge impact player Kawhi Leonard. I've always stated that. He's got the next 5 years on lock. We'll see what happens with their different teams. If he wins this championship, again, not top 5 all time. I don't have him top 10 all time if he were to win. I think he's very close within that 10, 11, 12 slot. He would be somewhere around there if he were to win a championship this season. I have the Lakers winning it, so I don't see that to happen. But, let's see what happens. I have huge trust when it comes to Kawhi. I love his game. I love that he started off in San Antonio in college. He knows how to play in a team system, and success is on his way for Kawhi. So I'm going to leave it there. So usually if he were to win this championship, I would have him around number 10 through number 15 all time. Probably around 10 to 13 to be more realistic. But, hey, let me know what you guys think and see what happens here as we're coming down to Orlando.